Well, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Always happy to help share and connect with awesome people from around the world that are like-minded, and it's just an exciting time. So, a little bit about me and my background. I actually learned about ASEA and this business, all this incredible industry in general about 9 years ago, 10 years ago, actually. I've been partnered with the company for a while. Now, I got started with the company when I was 18. So I'm 26 now. And I learned about it more so a couple years beforehand, just because my family was actually taking the product at that point. But I was trying to understand a little bit more about how this industry could really affect me as an individual, how I could affect other people. And I really did not like the fact that I had to go to do a 9 to 5 in that kind of a sense, like for work and stuff. It was just not what I wanted to do. My father was an entrepreneur, and I felt like I wanted to follow in that type of a footstep. So what better way to kind of do that than get involved with a business like this? And so from an early age, I actually started going to some events with him, with past companies, as well as and then eventually getting into this company, learning a little bit more about it. And the cool part about it, in the beginning at least, is I was so much more like a sponge. I was taking in as much information as I possibly could, so that I could put that into my business over time. So the first couple, 2-3 years more or less, were what I call my sponge years, where I take as much information as I possibly can and utilize that to go forward. So, but before that, I was going to college. I was getting a degree in business management with a concentration in marketing, and I also double minored in digital media production, sports studies. So, very, very wide range things. But I wanted to go into business. I wanted to market an aspect. So, leveraging the information I kind of got from there as a foundational point, but utilizing the foundation of this type of a business, this type of an industry, I kind of meshed the two. And from that point on, when I was about 18, I started talking with people, but more or less I was working with the team that my father had initiated in the beginning, and just developed from there. Just really developed, and honestly, just opening my mouth, saying one thing to one person helped make a huge team in another country. And honestly, it pushed me to become a leader very fast. Like, when you start having people become part of your business, you start to have a responsibility. Responsibility is really important. And so, that's just a little bit of the inception of kind of how it all started, how I kind of got into it. And I just got exposed at a younger age. I think that was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. And so that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, Marco. And before we sort of go on as well, I was going to say, like, congratulations. Yeah, I mean, that's really good that you, and like, it's a combination of everything. Like you said, you were open-minded and you had family that knew what they were doing to an extent, or they knew a good thing when they saw it, and they basically shared it with someone that they love, such as yourself. And you mentioned events as well. Like, I feel that with a lot of online businesses that are not, say, direct sales, or that there might be like e-commerce or something different, this is something where people have already succeeded in the system, and all you need to do, like you said, you're opening it, you're saying some simple things, but obviously there's hard work behind it.
Of course.
But you're being plugged. So essentially, someone has a big dream. We have big dreams. We want to make extra income. We want to help people. There's already a system that is already set up to do that. And I'll say this from the perspective, it's funny, my mom actually introduced me to the ASEA business not 6 years ago, product 6 years ago. I was on a different train.
Yeah.
Some of you guys watching might know already, I was actually at an accounting firm myself, and I actually work as an audiologist in health, because health is wealth, essentially, to an extent. But anyway, so So that's what I love about this business too. And you mentioned events where you see so many people doing great things, and the thing is like, and let me know if you feel the same way. When you're an entrepreneur or when you're even doing any other job, it can feel lonely, right? Like if you're by yourself trying to get your whatever business of e-commerce or a crypto thing, yeah, you might have a mastermind or a small group on the internet, but really, there, to my mind, there isn't anything else that's really similar. So tell me a little bit about how it's changed your life then. So you mentioned 9 to 5, obviously, right? So that to people, well, most people would know that, I hope. But basically, where how I see it, you don't choose your own hours or your lunch break. It's like, they say jump, you jump, and the earning potential is capped. I mean, they can't pay you too much, otherwise, then
Yeah.
there's got to be matching expenses. And also, your time, you only get paid if you're working. And I know that sounds weird to someone that might not be familiar with residual income, but so yeah, tell us a little bit about that sort of what it's allowed you to do essentially.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting because when I was I think that was actually the primary reason why I actually did this business was because when I was getting started when I was in college actually, I really had a goal for myself that I actually did not want to be in a 9 to 5 job. And actually by sophomore year of college, I actually had my dream job, quote unquote, dream job, which would be a social media specialist for a corporate company in New York, run their Instagram, run their Facebook, run all the social media for them. And that was ideal. But I actually started doing the job actually within college already. I had gotten started. And uh, being in front of a desk from a 9 to 5 kind of situation and it being in the middle of summer, for example, I did it for about 6 months and I said to myself, wow, you know what? I do not see myself doing this at all. I don't feel like I can be in a position where I'm stuck within a time frame where I have to be somewhere. And so for me, the flexibility is really important. I mean, very, very, very important. And so from that point on, that's kind of where I made my decision, right? What I wanted to, like, how I wanted to take myself going forward. And then number two, I really wanted to, I wanted to focus on kind of doing what I wanted to. And I felt like in that position where I was, not that I couldn't do what I wanted to do, but there's structure, a lot more structure to what they wanted. And so for me, what I found in this was the fact that I was able to choose my hours. I was able to choose who I worked with. I was able to choose basically everything. And if I wanted to take a weekend off, I could take a weekend off. If I wanted to take a week off, a month off, I could do that. And I think the best part, which you touched on, was the fact that I'm able to still make money even when I'm not working. And that is essential. I mean, I know so many people during this pandemic in the past year and a half, and even till this day, I mean, who are in lockdowns. I know, like, for example, in Vietnam, like tons of lockdowns, and as well as in Australia, it's lockdowns too in these cities. Yeah. So I understand the struggle and I get it. And like, if you can't work and, people enjoy working, people enjoy being around other people. So I found that this was something where we could be connected online like this, right? And still helping people to earn an income, to learn more about the technology, to learn more about an industry that most people don't have any idea about, and leverage that. And then, even if this takes you 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years to make a substantial amount of money, guess what? In those 10 years, let's just say it took you 10 years, right? If that 10 years took place and you made, let's say now, an extra $3,000 a month within that 10-year period, now 10 years later, would you be unhappy? I mean, everybody would be ecstatic to be making extra money, even let's say doing this as a side business, you know? So that's kind of how I started out. I started doing it as a side business. Of course, I worked anyways. I still did, you know, my jobs that I had to make money or right away. But I also like to point out that those jobs help create more connections. And so whenever somebody says, for example, you know what, I'm just going to quit doing everything and I'm just going to do this, for example, right now. Well, if you don't have a lot of connections, or if you don't have a stream of different people coming into play, I wouldn't recommend doing that. You want to continue to get more connections with people, you know, and there's a whole bunch of ways of doing that. And, you know, even being in front of, let's say, having a job that you're in front of more people each and every day, that's a good thing, you know, or even going to coffee house or going to, you know, something like that. Like, anyways, just to kind of wrap that situation up, it's just like you can build this business part-time, and it will exponentially grow over time and create that income that a lot of people dream of, is that passive income where you're sleeping and you're still making money, right? And people are working it. So I think for me, that's kind of what I dream for, and kind of right now, which is incredible. Every single week I get a check, and whether I do something or I don't, check still comes in, you know.
It's a wonderful feeling. Thanks for sharing, Marco. It's really, and guys, if you are earning passive income, if you're not earning passive income, just comment if you're watching the replay as well. And if you have any questions, reach out to either Marco or myself. We're in the same company, not in the same team, so to speak, but like more than happy to chat, obviously. So, you know, you really touched on something really powerful, and that is, like you said, you have choice. I was just going to quickly touch on that, because a lot of people, it's almost like, because I'm a pretty sensitive guy sometimes, I can feel when people are not, you know, feeling empowered. And I feel that now more than ever, people feel like they don't have a choice. They have to do this or that. We're not going to go into what it is, but, and especially money and health more than ever. So I really encourage you, if you're watching this, to really reach out to one of us, because I guarantee you there'll be something that we can give back, give some value to, whether it's our experience or you know, something that can really empower your health or your obviously, you know, your bank account. So okay, so tell me, I've seen you a little bit of, obviously this business, like you sort of alluded to, it's not just in New York. So for example, you're in New York, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I'm in.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just looking at the back, I'm like, where's that guy's flag? Alrighty.
Yeah.
So I'm in Brisbane, Australia. But if one day, let's just say, touch wood, New York, I don't know, they just shut down, or Brisbane shuts down, or wherever you're from, you might be from Europe if you're watching, or Asia. It doesn't stop. Like, the business doesn't stop either. It's something that is more stable. Nothing is permanent forever, but this is pretty much one of the most stable things I know. If you're looking for security that can give you something, if when you've built it up, and you touched on it being a side business, it can absolutely be something that, you know, I have friends that make craft on the weekend and sell it online on Etsy, or if you have a YouTube blog or something. So tell me a little bit about sort of your travels and where you've been. I think something a bit light on this note. I got one more thing I want to ask you, but
yeah, no, I think this is probably one of my favorite parts about this business. So I've been able to meet so many people from so many different parts of the world. It's actually quite incredible. I was able and lucky enough to go to Australia. I think it was now 2 years ago, which is pretty crazy, but this pandemic kind of messes with time. I don't know. Anyways, I went to Australia. I've been to Europe. I've been to a whole bunch of different places, South America, obviously around North America. And one of the best parts, I feel, is that you get to meet so many different people in these different areas and befriend them, understand them, learn from them. There's different cultures. I think that's one of the coolest parts about it, is you immerse yourself in these cultures that you would have never done, really, if you weren't exposed to a business like this. And so I had a pleasure of, for example, going to Australia and staying over staying over some fellow associates' houses over there, and believe it or not, it really made the difference because they give you like the 5-star treatment, you know, and it's just one of those things. And so I not just going to these different areas of the world and meeting new people, you know, building teams in these different areas, but also with the company you earn these different trips. And so, for example, in the United States, we have a trip to Nashville coming up in September, right? And so you had the potential to earn that trip. And so for me, I was able to do that. And so I'm excited because now I can go to Nashville for free, basically. My hotel and my airfare is paid for and my tickets paid for. It's very cool because you know, I don't know of any corporate company that's paying people to go places to have a great time and to learn more, you know? So it's just one of those things. Like that's I think the icing on the cake. And then there's different trips where you can go to Croatia, more exotic places as well. But, you know, I think it's part of this industry, but more purposefully, I think it's there to help you connect with more people. And that's what happened to me. And I've just been to network like crazy. And, you know, I just shout out to Christina Sword, who held me up in her house with her kids and everything. So it's very nice of her to do that in Australia. Appreciate that.
That's awesome. And she's actually moved to France, actually. And that's amazing, isn't it? Like she's just you know what? I'm just going to go to France. And that's what the business can do for you. And obviously, you know, she's very successful, but that's incredible.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You make so many friends and you come out of this business a different person that, you know, your soul's just been, you know, washed, and it's just amazing. So quick one. So, and also it's basically, I'm just trying to convert in Australia. It's like $40 to $60 to sign up to get started. There's nothing on this planet that you're going to have unlimited earning potential for. It's just crazy. Anyway, we could go on. So for someone that doesn't have, you know, that kind of experience, or do you have any advice, or wants to get started, do you have any advice that they want to sort of make a bit of side income?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I got started, I mean, the business I knew.
Yeah.
Did I get cut off? Sorry about that.
Saw you loud and clear. I got the message.
Okay, yeah.
So
I knew nobody, 0 people, had no connections, and so if I could do this business, anybody could do this business, to be honest. And so the way I see it is this: your main goal is create those connections. That's what you want to focus on, because the more new people that you bring into your funnel every single day and you have conversations to, is more of an audience to expose this incredible industry to, and help them if they need that. And there's 2 really major pandemics in this world. It's the health pandemic and the wealth pandemic, because either somebody can't afford to live or they can't live. And so it's really key here, because we have the key to those 2 things in front of us. And that's why I just love sharing this, because I know it can help make a huge impact in both of those situations.
Nice. Network, make connections. You never know where that will lead and what it's going to bring for you. And one day you'll be just like Marco.
Well, I don't know about it. I would just say, I mean, just giving an example very, very briefly, but just because I opened my mouth and I asked somebody a very simple question, where they were from, where are you from, led to a bigger conversation, and then led to thousands of people in another country learning about this technology and having an impact on their health and in their wealth. So, because if I didn't ask that question and create that communication, do you think that would have made an impact in somebody's lives? So that's why I always say, open your mouth, have a conversation, ask questions, because you never know what people are gonna, you know, what people need, or what their family or their friends need, you know. And so that's why I love this business.
No, I appreciate that, Marco. You love that. I guarantee you, you talk to anyone, they need something.
Yeah.
And we have it.